Hello Galactic family. The world was made for the body was made for the soul, and the soul was made for God. When this discovery is made and the soul is restored in a disfigured culture, we find the greatest treasure of all, and it is closer to us than we imagine. Ravi Zacharias. My beloved, it is with great love that the cosmos this month is flooding us with one of the most intense light waves of the year. In fact, the new wave has already been felt strongly by those who are seeking to deeply and consciously integrate this new wave into their being and their body, allowing this light to remove everything that is not aligned with our true divine self. Because it is only when we begin to free ourselves from all false beliefs, from the lower self and from other impostors, that our true path and our being are shown to us. The purification of the body, the restoration of our energy balance, and the ongoing process of soul integration that we are experiencing at the moment, even though the last smell in Libra brought some stabilization, is leading some of us to the point of not to be able to function on the same level as we used to do, having severe physical sensations, in which our body resists to relax, as well as to release from our human self all residues of our 3D personality/implants and many other forms of illusion. We are, at the moment, bringing down more light of our divine Christ self, experiencing a sacred marriage between all the aspects of who we are, spiritualizing our human self, the one who judges, separates and stops loving everything that is not recognized as being one with the divine. To spiritualize and dominate the lower self, we do not have to go to far places, seek out or ask for redemption, because we know that the further we go, the less we will find the answers and the true and necessary healing. When we spiritualize the lower self, we fall into many challenges. We find the very shadows in every corner of the world, because it is only by confronting and ending the fear of negative polarity that we begin to resurrect the true sovereign beings that we are, in essence. To spiritualize the body requires constant observation of the human self, constant devotion, communion with our soul as the eternal witness, and the intention to dedicate ourselves to serve the law of the One, who dwells in unity and love with the all. To dominate the human, we must remember that we are sovereign divine beings, inhabiting a human body. To begin the process of physical ascension, one must first love with neutrality, and for this to happen, we must purify ourselves from all the imposed implications and human beliefs that have covered our true essence, and feeling of deep connection with the whole. Do you practice compassion, being centered in your higher heart at all times, and working in co-creation with the whole? Or are they still maintaining separation, judgments, and lack of love in relation to themselves, and therefore to the whole? April, especially with its many retrograde planets, shows us where we still hold karmic beliefs and behaviors that keep us from continuing our inner work of soul liberation and integration. At this time, many of us are facing many challenges primarily related to our physical bodies and deep inner implants, which are giving us the opportunity to free ourselves from an age of restraint and lack of love that we experienced during the Piscean age. This is also one of the main reasons we are deeply immersed in a passage of liberation from karmic patterns, still active in our physical bodies, before we are resurrected again as true divine sovereign beings that we are all, in essence. Venus, to set an example, being in slow motion, shows us what we reject, what we still do not love in ourselves, what separates us, and consequently manifests itself as lacking in our physical experience, because all abundance is another form of love, and when there is not much love for ourselves, it can be shown to us in what we see as separate, because that is just another extension of ourselves in the physical. Saturn, the lord of time and responsibility, comes to test our strength on our ascensional path, reminding us that we are limited by our sense of time and space, and that it is in this human domain that we can now purify ourselves from the old and build strong structures in the new, beginning by ascending into the physical, which can be accomplished when we finally take responsibility for all our actions, as well as our past and present selves. Mercury dwells on our mental plane, giving us time to purify all limited human beliefs, which withdraw our power and impede the highest human experience. Pluto, being retrograde on April 20th, comes to test our personal sense of power. Where do you place your attention/intention? What do you infuse with your inner light? What can you create and/or destroy? Are you using your inner sacred fire to build, co-create, and be the love that you are? Or are they using all their precious energy in situations and with people who are no longer destined to be in their current life experiences? It is during April, especially during Easter, that we again receive the opportunity to claim our seed of the Christic self and begin to purify ourselves from eons of slavery and mass/control manipulation, especially by religion. To deconstruct our three-dimensional personality is not a one-day process in which we do a meditation/activation, and suddenly we begin to feel ourselves as the masters we really are, in essence. To deprogram everything that we have been implanted with, since birth, as programmed visual data, among many other forms of mind control, is not easy at all, and from my point of view this is largely manipulated by some people claiming to be through this process in a few days, or that can cause you to heal or release all those old implants, as if we could just let go of centuries of genetic manipulation/programming like this. For me, this is again the ego trying to interfere, when it should remain as an observer. Recovering spiritual sovereignty is essential to a life free from fears and lack of love. Because every time we give our power to our physical senses, to others or to other conditions, we are acting like beings adrift, without hope. When we begin to follow a conscious path of soul integration and co-creation, we cannot do anything from a state of powerlessness because when we act under that lower frequency, we cannot love, give, and share from an authentic place, but one of separation and confusion. From the equinoxes, along with the eclipses, among many other things, we are in a period of change and transition, that we must observe how the human behaves when it feels safe. Do you observe yourself repeating old actions in a compulsive way, without knowing why you keep doing the same thing? Do you catch yourself saying things you do not even feel anymore? If that happens, only love will heal what the human judges and destroys. If so, this shows that there are still old implants being repeatedly represented in your human mind, which must be eradicated, as your I Am presence brings down more Christ light to your lower self. The Christ is not an external force or being, it is the inner divine consciousness, which practices love, compassion and neutrality in relation to all. This essence is always at our disposal, no one who has strength has given us, but rather our conscious intention to integrate this loving essence, whose nature is, and has always been, one of unity and love for all of creation. No one can give it to you because it is already who you are. No one can redeem himself or his sins and become pure again, and be a candidate to dwell in that Christ light, for you are already pure, innocent, and free from sin, since you originate from oneness for simply experience, not what you are not, but what you really are, everything. The physical body is currently experiencing, as I said at the beginning, a profound transformation, for those who are consciously integrating this new wave. All the physical sensations that you can experience, It is your body telling you what aspects are not being taken care of and that need urgent attention/intent. For all these aspects, which you still reject and suffer, are ready to be released from the old to receive this higher light. Some will feel pain in their bone system, not knowing why, especially in the legs. This is your body telling you that you are afraid to move forward and confront all the challenges that are needed to access a new life, created by your soul rather than by your lower self. If you feel pain in your hips, you are holding anger and insecurity there, just as if you tend to accumulate feelings and deny them. You will feel oppression in your thymus, throat chakra and weight gain, because your weight is a form always, just an example of being protected, from the human point of view. All this gives them a message about what must be undone. Everything comes as a gift, not as a curse or punishment. Because we are always remembering divine love, and, most of the time, the human can only do this by forgetting and not loving first. Do you love every aspect of who you are? Do you love and welcome your body? A perfect project of God, helping them to experience the human kingdom? Or do you still tell yourself how bad they are and how things are going from bad to worse? Do you accept with gratitude every single moment, no matter what it brings? Or do you complain and pray to outside forces so that they will save you from what you have unconsciously created? All the answers are always in you, because you are the only ones who can walk to be brave, when confronted with their shadows and begin to see what they do not love in themselves, and therefore in the whole, disavowing the true desires and visions of a soul to be anchored in this physical plane. To assist them in their process of soul integration and the dissolution of more lower layers, to practice neutrality, breathing techniques, to be present at every moment. Let the being present be the eternal observer rather than the lower self which he judges. And begin to accept that all challenges are just opportunities for you to discover your true divine potential, strengthened above all, so that you will remember that all is one in innocence to the all. There is a difference between judgment and discernment, but in both I note some egoic perceptions. On the other hand, when we incorporate divine neutrality, we are experiencing this human journey, not only from a human perspective, but from a perspective of our soul as well, since the internal divine self, who loves all and does not judge anyone, we choose to experience many different scenarios, including what we call negatives, to help remind us of unity when chaos seems to reign. As we are about to enter a new stage of the year, the next month when we are moving from the depths of our inner domains to manifesting the visions of our soul on a tangible plane, it is essential that we reach this stage by being renewed and with a new sense of direction, which comes from a deep communion with our soul. That is why, seeing everything from a neutral space, is key to not labeling things, situations, relationships, ourselves, and others as being this or that. Because when we do this, we lose all sense of divinity, falling into the illusion, which only continues to attract more dark imposters or false self/ego beings. Do you truly want to change your reality? Undo all things that are not aligned with the vision of your soul? Begin to tread the path of love for yourselves, for it is by recognizing the divine within that you will see it in the whole. If you want a life filled with joy and love, become it. Because no external force will free you from experiencing what you, as humans, came here to do. Only you can release all the veils and layers of illusion that once hid our sovereignty as divine beings. If you want to walk the path of love, prepare to welcome the shadows within yourself and the whole. Because the highest reality in which you would like to dwell, love and include all. If you are eager to become five-dimensional beings, unity must become a constant sensation in your micro-reality. if you still judge, if you still blame yourself for what your lower self is not yet aware of, if you cannot walk through your shadows, then you still dwell in duality. So you are not yet ready to tread the path in which all are equal, sovereign beings of the experience of life itself, in love and service to the whole. If you are still navigating among the challenges that our deep sense of polarization brings, then you are blessed, since none of us came here to experience only the light, for that is another form of separation, and all is light. You are still in the darkness, it is because you are near the end/beginning to discover the true divine self. For only those who love the all, light and shadows, without concentrating only on the inner light, will enter into this new upper octave of love, graduating from the earth with deep gratitude for the gift of experiencing this love that has always been within of all forms of existence/beings, regardless of their nature. With love, light, darkness, and always with an infinite embrace of love of the all,